Hey guys. Good afternoon, finally. So we're in the shop, obviously. We're waiting on a few more people to show up. Hey Warren, you got any rain over there? I'm told it's raining, but I haven't checked. Good morning. Afternoon. Yeah, afternoon. No rain yet. Yeah, not here either. I might open the door. Let's do that. I'm going to open the door. Stand by. $7 p.m. there, huh? I could almost figure out where you are. All right, door open. How are you? Good morning. So, I'm in the shop working hard on PFG Stones today, as I will be all weekend, trying to get stuff done. And many orders to fill. The mist collector was a project that I had to get done, and it's done, but it cost me some time. So there you go. What else is going on? It's we had the hurricane remnants hit us. It was not a big problem here, and we're getting some more stuff today. A little bit of rain, but not too bad. And I think it is raining here, Warren. Just a little bit. So today, a lot of shop work, a lot of grinder stuff. Grinder's going great. Love this machine. If I do my job, it does its job. And I'm starting to learn the vagaries of the software, which of course is the big problem on all these machines. So, it's a combination of Fanuc software and also the Okamoto overlay that goes on the Fanuc. Concord and below is the rain, huh? Okay, well, I'm below it, so that's that explains it. The rain must be coming up from the south. Welcome aboard. It's nice to get everybody checking in from all over the globe. I know this might not be the most convenient time for some people. Hey, John. Welcome aboard, man. Hello, hello. Thank you for tomatoes. They have been enjoyed. Welcome aboard, Fad Radcator. I've got to figure out how to pronounce that. I was excited for a while. I thought it was Farad-a-cator, but it wasn't. Anyway, Toolmaker 365, welcome aboard. Instabrad, how are you? Yeah, I know. You got to figure out things to do with tomatoes, but we love them, and we just eat them. I eat salads every day, so. Okay. Anyway, something came up a while ago. I was listening to John Saunders on one of the business of machinings, and he talked about resonance And am I getting a second brass rat? Okay, I'll get back to resonance in a minute. Are we getting a second brass rat in the family? No. My offspring, Sam, is going to Tufts University. So at the School for the Museum of Fine Arts. So we were down there. The funny thing is, we went down. We took we took all the stuff down. We spent the whole day loading up the dorm room, which was great because it was on the third floor of a walk-up, of course. So yeah, it is a great city. So I wore out my back with boxes happily. But right across the street is a sushi takeout place, and right up the street is a Japanese hibachi place, and right at the corner is a great bakery. So it was absolutely awesome. So I'm looking forward to great things. And Conjet might be joining us here. I don't know. We'll see. Close enough so she could do laundry every night. Not every night, but yes. Close enough that we'll still have some family fun as schedule permits. But she's already figuring out how to do the whole MBTA thing. So that's pretty cool. Oh, your Platen. Bring the Platen over after I finish Stones. I'd be happy to take it. Hey, there's Chris. Welcome aboard. You lived in Cambridgeport. Yeah. I lived in, hey, Bart. I lived in Somerville, in Belmont, and Cambridge. So, I was going to tell you a funny story. So we're driving back. Oh, I didn't prepare my joke for today. We'll have to make something up. We're driving back from Tufts, and that was when the serious heavy rains hit our area. And I get on the app called Waze. So I don't know if all of you use it, but it's an app that's kind of a crowdsourced information app, so that it knows about traffic and it knows about stuff. Well, Waze immediately says, go way up through Cambridge to get to Route 93, which is the major highway home. So we're driving through these back neighborhoods, and my wife is questioning whether Waze is actually giving us good information. But I assured her that this was crowdsourced information and we should trust it. So never mind that. We keep passing these restaurants that we love. We both remembered all these restaurants. Yeah. So John says he loves Waze. Anytime he's ignored it, he gets burned. Exactly correct. So we're following Waze, and we're going up through the wilds of Cambridge and then Somerville, and basically through the back roads. And we must have passed 5 different places that we remembered eating with great food and all sorts of ethnic food. It was great, but we didn't stop, and it was pouring rain. So, but it was just hysterical. The memory lane that we went down on the way home. Is Hilltop Steakhouse still there? I heard that the answer is no, but I can't be sure. I can't remember. But yeah, Hilltop Steakhouse was a fixture with the big plastic cow, which was another story. Anyway, welcome everyone. Busy morning, huh? So, if you got any questions, best to pop them into the question button on the bottom, so that they don't get lost scrolling off in the text. Yeah, John says he thinks maybe it's a meat market now. Not 100% sure. I'm not sure. I'll check on that. I will. I'll tell you what. I'll take that as homework. I will check on Hilltop Steakhouse for you, and we'll report back next Sunday. I've got my homework. I forgot to do my homework on having a joke for you, but we'll work on it. So, yeah, I was listening to, I'm grinding, and the whole grinding world for me is controlling wheel balance, wheel dress, and even resonance in the parts that you're grinding. I mean, which of course you're familiar with if you do any machining. If you're machining on a part that has a resonance in it, or you have a long tool that has a resonance in it, you know what you get. You get chatter. Grinding is no different. So it's a very interesting battle. And I was just musing about that this morning as I was sort of, tweaking things and getting things working as good as they can. But so if you listen to Business of Machining, you may have heard them talking about resonance and damping. And they were getting the terms sort of mixed up a little bit. From the standpoint of an engineer nerd, it was driving me crazy. So I sent John an email, and we had a little communications. I think that cleared a few things up. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to just kind of grab a demo and show you what are we talking about. I don't know if this is a great demo, but it's a demo nonetheless. So when we're talking about this is a piece of aluminum tubing, and if you've ever seen a wind chime, you might see some tubing ringing. So I'm going to try to, this is a typical piece of metal, and metals generally have pretty low vibrational loss. So let's see if we can hear this. So you can hear it ring, but it doesn't keep ringing, right? And that means it has a resonance, but it has high damping, or it has a lot of loss, which is another way of saying high damping. Hey, Dika. So here's a piece of brass tubing. So the brass tubing rings longer, okay? And that means that it has less damping than aluminum. So what is damping? Damping is converting, in our case, mechanical motion to heat. So aluminum has a high amount of damping, and relatively speaking, and brass has a low amount of damping. So how about this? There's a piece of polycarbonate. This is all junk from my stockpile here. Let's try a piece of polycarbonate. Oops, hang on. It hit the brass. All right. So I would suggest that has got a lot of damping, and I don't hear any ringing. So this doesn't have much of a mechanical resonance, and it has high damping. This has some mechanical resonance, and it has some damping because it doesn't ring a lot. This has very low damping and a mechanical resonance. So it really depends on the material. And if we said, what about a towel? So no resonance, and the damping is kind of irrelevant if it has no resonance. So that's sort of the difference between these terms, resonance and damping. Resonance means that it can absorb energy and store it. And the vibration is it's storing the energy. And the vibration going away is that energy getting turned into heat. Or in the case of an antenna, here's your first antenna lesson. In the case of an antenna, the antenna can be resonant, and it loses energy two ways: by loss in the wire, or by radiating it out into space. And then the energy is gone. It radiated away. So there you go. And Warren says, even if it's not a great demo, it's a welcome sidetrack to keep me from doing what I should be doing. It is my honor to keep you from doing what you should be doing, Warren. Which I'm a big fan of that. So machine tools, the machine tools we know and love, the guys who design the machine tools recognize that if the machine has resonances in it, you will curse them forever, because you'll get lousy finish in your parts because the machine's vibrating, and you just won't be able to use it at high feeds and speeds. So they think a lot about resonance and damping. So for example, if I just turn around here, the casting of the grinder, all the big parts are made out of a cast iron that has a very high damping coefficient. So it tends to not vibrate. Whereas maybe some of the sheet metal, that has a tendency to vibrate, but it doesn't matter because it's not in the important part. The important bits are made of something that has high damping. And then sometimes the manufacturers will actually fill the casting with another material like sand or sand and epoxy or whatever. So Fad Radcator. It's going to be a while. Would like to hear more about junk antenna training. So I do teach a course, which is all about antennas and making antennas from junk and improvising antennas and using antennas that you do have properly. And if you go to antennaoperator.com, you could learn more about the course. That course is taught to, it's tailored to whoever needs to hear about it, but I've been teaching that to military groups, and we continue to do that. Read the principles of mechanical accuracy, but can't remember the resonance part. Yeah, so you know about resonance. You just don't know that you know. Yeah, and Bart says he worked at a aerospace wind tunnel center as a tool maker, and they had to hit the models with a hammer to check the frequency. So that's the resonance, and that matters, because if you're going to operate some piece of equipment near the resonant frequency of one of its parts, unless you intended to do that, it's going to bite you in the butt. So, yeah. Fad Radcator says, could an ultrasonic transducer be programmed to offset that? I think I know what you're asking. In other words, can you measure a resonance and then make a change in the system to get away from that resonance, or to reinforce that resonance? I think that's what you're asking, and the answer is yes, of course. Yeah. Recently, Haas started introducing a feature into their lathes where they would change the frequency of the motor, of the spindle, to get away from a resonance in a part. And by constantly changing it, it reduces the probability that you're going to find some resonance and then reinforce it until your part, chatters away. Warren says in John Saunders' newest video at Bourne & Co., they said that they fill the bottom of one of their machines with polymer concrete. Absolutely. If you're wondering what resonance is and isn't, like noise canceling. Yeah. Yes, that can be done. You could have active vibration canceling. Absolutely. But you could also have sand, and that's what Warren is bringing up, is that by filling the base of a machine with polymer concrete, which is really a fancy way of saying epoxy and sand, which I think is non-trivial. I think getting that right, even if you get it wrong, though, if you mix up epoxy and sand and you put it in a container and try to make it vibrate, it doesn't want to vibrate. Or if you just have sand, I don't even think you need the epoxy, but that's another story. And if you wonder how good that is, just go outside, go to a patch of dirt, and hit it with a hammer, and you'll see nothing happens. It doesn't vibrate. But if you go to your kitchen and you take out a wine glass and you tap the wine glass, it will vibrate. So that's an example of very high damping, which is the ground, and not much resonance, versus the wine glass, which is very high resonance and not much damping. So I think that's worthy of study. But resonance and damping and dissipation, which is another way of saying getting rid of energy, are all parts of machining, machine tools. They're all parts of it. It's all parts of antennas, electromagnetic radiation, optics. It's all the same. So there you go. That's the thought for the weekend. It's Labor Day weekend here in the United States for you guys in other places of the world. So we have Monday off, and it's a federal holiday, and it's basically a celebration of the working person, the laborer. And I'm happy for the 3-day weekend so I could labor for 3 days in a row, which is exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, what are you guys up to? And does anybody have any other cool questions that we could... While you're thinking of your questions, I have a question for you. Are any of you Discord users? Because we do have access to a Discord server. And we may try to do something with that. Welcome. I don't recognize some new faces, new names. Anyway, so this weekend, today and tomorrow, I will be right here making PFG Stones and catching up on orders, which I'm happy to be doing. Yesterday, we finished up a big load of 6-inch PFG Stones. Got those finished, cleaned, packaged, and ready to go. Mr. Blodgett uses Discord. I think, Discord is going to be more common for gamers and students. Okay, so here's the topic: never-ending storage systems for shit/scrap/stock. I could show you some of my solutions, which are not solutions at all. I mean, this place is a bit of a mess. It's not as bad as it could be, but let me take you over to my stock rack. Well, first of all, I'll show you this. For hardware, we're very organized. So this is I forget which cabinet this is. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is a nice cabinet, and these are the bins from our friends in Worcester, Massachusetts. Let's see if you can see that. Schaller Corporation. There it is. And I have an account on their website, so it's really easy to order these bins. They're not super expensive. This is probably 30 cents or something like that. They make a profit. I get good stuff. But, you know, this is my hardware cabinet. So every time we order hardware, there's always leftovers. Leftovers go in here. The information, we save it, and it goes there, and we know how to reorder it. So no crazy, you know, inventory system. This is a visual system. You look, and that's what we got. And if it's not here, we don't have it. So that's organization number one. This is junk hardware, but we go all the way down to, you know, number two hardware. And then, actually we've got there's some aught 80, but not much. That's organization number one. And then toward the bottom, you can see there's some labels here, some jigs and soft jaws and tapered mandrels and grinding hubs. But everything's labeled. So we have a labeler. We're not afraid to use it. And that's another thing. So here's the stock rack. I save these tubes from McMaster Carr, and I lay them down on a shelving unit so that the ends stick out. And this is a lot of the rod stock and flat stock that we keep around. So everything, plastics, polycarbonate, UHMW, nylon, lots of aluminums. The aluminums are, 2024, 6061, 7075. Tool steels, A2s, 4140 for, and one of my favorite materials is this 4142 heat treat or pre-hard. We have head knockers, absolutely. You have to get used to it. Stuff. Copper, a bunch of blade steels. If I want to, I do some little tools using A2 and 01. There's some brass down there. So this is, lots of access to stuff. And we'll buy stuff for a project. There's always leftovers. And they go to where it's accessible. Up here, this looks like it's just a PVC pipe, but actually that one on the left is storing semi-rigid coaxial cable, 0.85 diameter. We have some long lengths of that, which we use in antennas. And there's, some tubing and more tubing. So basically, this is the stock area, but like every stock area, there's just a mess because we're busy. This is mostly tool storage. So same thing, Schaller bins, and you recognize those. These are the 5C collets. Then we got R8 collets, my little mini pallets that I made, and all of their accessories. Have tons of Metro. Did you reinforce the plastic slip fittings? I have not, and I've never had a failure. So I may be using it heavy, but I'm not using it too heavy, so it's not that horrible. Same deal. Here's a really cool one. So this one is called a. I'm trying to remember the name of the manufacturers. There's two different manufacturers. One has the curved handles, and one has the flat handles. And I particularly like the flat ones because what I did is I made up these standard aluminum plates. Okay, and I just made a pile of them on my shear. And as I load up a drawer with stuff like this electrical lugs, I'll just take one of these plates. I'll put a label on it, throw it in there. And if it ever changes or I rearrange stuff, I just grab the plate and it travels with the stuff. But this gives you an idea. Over here, we're sort of into support for the milling machines. So we've got soft jaws and stuff for the Bridgeport and for the Sharp Vertical Machining Center. Lista. Yeah, so Lista, let's see if I get this right. This is not a Lista. This is a Lista. So I think this is Lista. And I forget the name of this one. But anyway, I like them both, but I particularly like the one that uses the flat labels. So this is, and then we get down here into the shipping department. This is actually the shipping department for Kinetic. And our shipping scale and label printer and all that stuff is here. This is a bit of a mess right now because I was doing some stuff. The other thing that is huge to recommend is Baker's racks. Baker's racks are awesome. So you can see I'm getting ready for a bunch of output from grinding round stones today. So I've set this up with the trays ready to receive them when they're finished. And here's some stones that are getting ready to go into grinding. Vidmar, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, I think Vidmar is the flat one, the one I'm standing in front of. So those are the two brands. Anyway, we love the Baker's rack and trays. I will tell you, however, that if you load up one of the plastic trays with stones, it can get pretty saggy. So I use a double plastic tray if it's really loaded up. So, you know, more, I guess these are the Vidmars. These could take a ridiculous amount of weight. And then we got some regular old Milwaukee and Husky stuff. So that is a little bit about how I keep organized in the shop. So I hope that answers the question. And I think, yeah, I don't really have any other shop stock that is not in the shop itself. Also, very important to find a place for flat stuff. So basically, in this area, I have a bunch of large plastic sheets, and this is actually some wood, some plywood. So you need a place for sheet storage. And it's going to vary depending on what your particular shop does. But I hope that helps. Oh, here's one other tidbit. I had a big work table in this area, and it was actually too big. So I got rid of that, and I put, right from Home Depot, one of these Husky tool cabinets, and this has been a perfect size, and I could move it around because this area has to hey Adam, good afternoon. This area has to convert between a grinding area and a welding area and a heat treating area. So this is the thing that moves around. This is the work table, and it's also the tools for grinding. So there you go. That was enough of that. We have a question that just popped in. Am I considering making dovetail stones? I've been asked this many times. The answer is yes, yes, and yes. It's really a matter of developing the process and having having it not displace something else that I need to be doing. So yeah, I've gotten a lot of requests for it, but interestingly, it would still be a pretty low volume product. So I would like to get to the point where I could make those. I think I know how I want to do it, and I think we can do a good job of it. And with the new machine, I think it'll make it easier to do also. So I am considering it, and I hope to get to it. We did have a request from a customer a while back for essentially a precision flat ground slipstone, which we actually built some tooling for. It was a real pain. It was difficult. The answer is we didn't arrive at the correct solution. So we never got that going. So hope that answers the question. Cool. Any other questions from you guys today? Are you all caught up on your podcasts? I think I am, which is a problem, because that's when I listen to podcasts when I grind. What are you guys making in the shop today? I know what Adam the machinist is going to tell me. He's going to say he's grinding on customer parts, which, that's what we're all doing. Well, I hope everybody's staying healthy and keeping an eye on what's going on in their neighborhoods. Okay, Dika asks, do you have some air conditioning or drying in your shop, or you just spraying stuff with WD-40? Let me answer those in reverse order. Do I spray stuff with WD-40? Absolutely not. WD-40 is a terrible thing to use if you're trying to keep your equipment from rusting. It's awful. So I'll show you what I do use. Hang on a second. All right. First, let's talk about WD-40. Adam, Roger, thanks for having us on to make noise. I have WD-40 in my shop. I use WD-40 in my shop. Here's what I use it for. Number one, the best thing it ever did is to remove adhesive. If you've ever had duct tape on something or masking tape on something and it left adhesive on it when you peeled it off, this is awesome at getting rid of adhesives without hurting plastics. Okay? WD-40 won't hurt plastics, and it will remove adhesives. That's number one. Number two, manual machining of aluminum. If you're machining aluminum, this is an awesome coolant for machining aluminum. It's great. The original purpose of WD-40 was water displacement. So it was used for getting rid of water that had invaded electrical systems. And in the old days, electrical systems was relay contacts and plugs. And so WD-40 does a good job of displacing water. Here's what it does a lousy job at: preventing rust and lubricating. It's not a very good lubricant. I mean, everything's a lubricant depending on what you need. But it doesn't do a good job of rust prevention. And if you're trying to keep stuff from rusting in the shop, spraying it with WD-40 is good for a day. But that's about it. Now, the thing I love in the shop is LPS1. So LPS1 is part of a family of lubricants and chemicals, LPS1, LPS2, LPS3. And they are very good. LPS1 is a synthetic. Obviously, I buy it by the gallon, and I decant it into smaller containers. It's a very lightweight lubricant, and it does a very good job of rust preventative. So if I have to wipe something down in the shop because I'm worried about maybe it getting rusting from the atmosphere, which, by the way, in New Hampshire is not a big problem. I'm looking at what you just sent, Bart. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you meant, but we'll get back to that in a second. So I like LPS1 for general wipe down of whatever. So if I'm worried about something in the shop, or the first thing I'll reach for is LPS1. LPS2 is an oil. So Bart, clarify what you're saying to me. Are you talking about WD-40 or LPS1 being keeping it away from machine oil systems? I would. By the way, if your machine has an oil system for the ways, I would keep everything away from it except for the oil that belongs in it. So, let me grab one more thing for show and tell. Hang on. So I couldn't find the exact, of course I can't find it, the exact thing I was looking for, but this is a lightweight oil that I use on the Bridgeport. So this is just an ISO 32 oil. This is a mobile product. Keep that around. Again, I have no problem wiping stuff down with this to prevent it. Yeah, okay, so Bart says that WD-40 will dissolve old oil on machines. Yeah, if so, it's a great cleaner. So when you see this, think cleaner, and you'll be fine. Okay, when you look at LPS1, think lightweight lubricant and oil, rust preventative. Lightweight rust preventative, right? When you see DTE ISO 32, this is again a mobile product. This is a general purpose lubricating oil, and again, I would be happy wiping anything down with this to protect it in the shop. Here comes a surprise. I love these containers, by the way. You might have seen. Steve Summers mentioned these guys, the goldenrod containers. So I also am a big fan. And you get them from McMaster-Carr. So this particular one I just grabbed from the lathe. This says dark cutting oil. So high sulfur content for cutting. Do not leave this on your machine. And here's why. Yeah, okay, Bart, I think we're communicating. And I see some other questions coming in. So let me just close this on the oil question. Dark cutting oil is awesome because it provides high lubricity under high pressure and high temperature in the cut. And that is from the sulfur. And that's a very important point. If you take this dark cutting oil and we put this on this piece of steel, and we walk away and we come back tomorrow, we have a stain. And the reason is the sulfur in the cutting oil reacts, I think, with the moisture in the atmosphere, and it makes sulfuric acid, and it will stain and damage a surface. So you have to use the right. Just because it's oil doesn't mean, or it's we have a lot of different, right? They're not all the same. So there you go. End of speech on that stuff. Let's see. Bart asks, what is my process when making the flat stones? They don't get flipped multiple times. So once the surface is done, it's done. And stock up. The price has been going up. The price on what? The price on all of the oils? I'm a big fan of buying a gallon at a time and then decanting into smaller containers. Now, the container that I have here called dark cutting oil comes from a 1 liter, 1 quart container of dark cutting oil that I bought at Home Depot 20 years ago. I mean, that's how much I don't use it. So WD-40, if you need WD-40, you can buy it by the gallon. This is one of the last spray cans of WD-40 I'll ever have in the shop. I don't recommend buying the spray cans unless you need it. I have for some refillable sprayers, you could use it that way. LPS products, I buy them by the gallon. Oh, let me finish the LPS product. So LPS 1 is this magnificent, synthetic, lightweight, all-purpose, great, very light lubricant. I love it. LPS 2 is an oil. It's more conventional. It's like a light oil, but it'll spray, it'll pump, and it's a good all-around light oil. LPS 3 is the rust preventative. Now, this is not like an everyday rust preventative. If I was just wiping stuff down, I would tend to use LPS 1 on a daily, if I needed it on a daily basis. If I lived in Florida, that's what I would do. But LPS 3 is you have something that you're storing or shipping, and you don't want rust to hit it. LPS 3, I call it Cosmoline in a can. So you use LPS 3, the carrier will evaporate, and it will leave a waxy, greasy remainder, and that's the rust preventative, and it is awesome. So if you have something you want to put on a shelf and forget about, and you don't want it ever to corrode, you spray it with LPS 3 and you leave it. Now there's a Boeing product, Bow Shield, I think is another one that was developed for that exact same purpose, and I think they're competitors. So if you're familiar with Bow Shield, it's like LPS 3. Okay, so there you go. Buy them by the gallon and decant them out as needed. Buying things in spray cans is convenient, and if it's convenience you seek, fine. Otherwise, I use the air charge sprayers. I like them a lot. By the way, you're leaning against, you don't realize this, but you're leaning against a gallon of denatured alcohol. That's the other consumable in the shop. There it is. I think I talked about this last week. And there it is, denatured alcohol. And if we read the ingredients, let's see, where is it? I don't think it's super clear on the bottle or on the container, but it's it's mostly ethanol with just enough methanol to make it not drinkable. All right, another question came in. So, have I tried fluid film lanolin based? I'm familiar with it, have not used it. I don't have a need. I'm so happy with the LPS 1, for example. No need. And I'm not, again, in New Hampshire, we're not chasing rust. It's not something that is a big problem. But we do look careful. Warren says, LPS is good stuff. We used it in the automotive machine shop where he worked in Florida. For short term, we used LPS 2. For long term, we used LPS 3. There you go. Spoken by somebody who was working in Florida. And McMaster has the LPS products. So, I don't know. I remember the term white gas from when I was a young punk in the Boy Scouts. We had some stoves that ran on it. I'm not sure. But this for sure is denatured alcohol. Okay, I'm out of context. Already drank a couple of cans. Of what? Of ethanol? I don't drink, so you're barking up the wrong tree. All right. Anything else, guys? Because I got to get back to work, and so do you. I know it's Labor Day weekend, but stuff needs to be done. All right, last call for questions, and then we're going to wrap it up here. KR Blodgett says, white gas is more like naphtha or Zippo lighter fluid. So naphtha is a generic term, and lighter fluid is naphtha, not the other way around. And it's really useful, too. It's also a very good adhesive remover, but it's more volatile than something like WD-40 if you're in the adhesive removing business. So, good point. Also, be careful with all your flammables in the shop. We have a flammables cabinet, and that needs a clean out already. Yeah. So today we're back to grinding stones. My goal today is to get all the round stones done. We've got a big batch of aluminum oxide round stones, a smaller batch of silicon carbide round stones to get out, and then we switch to the next size, which is the minis, 4-inch minis. I've got a surprisingly large number of minis to get going. And I thank you for your orders. I know some of you guys are already customers, and I appreciate that. And if you could hold off till next week to order, that'd be good. KR Blodgett asks, is there any 1,1,1 trichloroethane? I'm filling it in for you, but in my cabinet. No. Actually, I do have a can of stuff from Brownells, and I don't know. Let me go. Hang on. Let me grab it. I'm not sure. No, I couldn't find that Brownells product, but no, I don't have any of the evil stuff in my cabinet. By the way, this is the LPS 3. That's what it looks like when it comes in the spray can. I think I also have a gallon of it. So there you go. Energine, never heard of it. Well, there he is. Just when all the work is about done, 10EE shows up. Hey, buddy. Oh, this guy? Yeah. I'll show you. I'll give you the quick runaround on the mist collector. Okay, got it. Chris says that the proper terminology for any nasty chemical you can't pronounce is methyl ethyl bad shit. You are correct. Yeah, 10 WE, cleaning and getting ready for the semester. I know. I just delivered my my progeny to across the river from you. Anyway, let me show you the mist collector because it's kind of rocking. So there's the installation. You may have seen my posts when I was building that bracket. Came out great. The mist fit sits on top. I welded in some tabs, and it screws down to those tabs. And then there's 3 hoses. There's the big hose, the little hose, and the drain hose. I have not generated enough to detect any drippage down here from the collector yet. But for sure, when I turn this thing off, I get a lot of run back in the small hose, which is in the wheel housing. Hey, Jax. So this thing is working fantastically well. I can absolutely tell the difference. The plenum is sucking as it should. The wheel housing, action. By the way, the spindle's running, so you can't even hear it. They have a very clever design in here, which I haven't really studied, but they put a lot of thought into how the mist collection works with the, with the wheel guard. It's pretty neat. Let me close this before I stick a finger in there, which is a bad idea. So there you go. I ran it to an extension cord. I'll show you. And then I got one of these switches from Amazon so I could turn that whole system on. So it wasn't running. It is running now. And it's not too bad. But I will tell you that the mist collector is now the loudest thing in this whole system. So, we've got the 3-phase converter. It has a fan. We've got the electronics cabinet. It has a fan. We've got, of course, the spindle. So that's running. And we got the hydraulic pump, which is very quiet, by the way. And it's down here, and it's running. And then you got the mist collector, and it's running. So standing here, the loudest noise contributor is definitely the mist collector. Can I slip that towel and give a peek? No, but thanks for asking. Anyway, so that's the latest on the mist collector. It's dynamite. Very happy with it. And it's a product of Canada. Right across the border. So there you go. So there we go. That's Sunday for you. And I'm going to get back to work. Unless you sneak one more question in, and then we're going to move on. I just remembered a story, which I'll tell you, in lieu of the joke. Yeah, I tried. in lieu of the joke that I promised, there was a famous rifle smith, barrel maker, named Harry Pope. And he was in Connecticut. I forget which town. And he developed some rifles that were just tack drivers. And he was known as a just magnificent craftsman. So when he passed away, people rushed to buy his tools. And I'm sure in part to learn the secrets of his magnificent work. And the people, somebody got to buy his lathe, and somebody got to buy his rifling machine. And you know what they discovered? It was all crap. It was the craftsman who ran the tools that made the magic happen. And when Harry Pope died, his tools were clapped out, and he had them shimmed where they needed to be shimmed, and he knew where to hold his tongue to get the last tenth to cut right, and it wasn't the stuff. So, yeah. So sometimes I can't show proprietary because it's a client's proprietary. Sometimes it's a trade secret, and sometimes it's a product that I'm developing so I can sell it. But you know that. And everybody's joining now, just in time to be told we've used up all our time. Anyway, if you guys need to punch out, I'll understand it. If any of the new guys want to ask a question. Yeah, KR Blodgett says we got to see a lot of that with musical instrument builders. Yeah. Warren says I'm going to suggest that he means a good craftsman knows what good work is and takes the time to do it. And if you haven't checked out some of Warren's posts about the work he does on big, heavy machinery and repairing it from clapped out to better than new, you really need to check that out. So that's a really super good example of that. Anyway, that's it. We did it. Another Sunday. I'm going to get back to work. If you guys have a day off, I hope you enjoy your day off. And we'll be back next week. Sunday at noon has been sort of arbitrary. I think it works. It's kind of comfortable for me. But if anybody has a good case for moving it up or down, let me know. We could move the time. Warren says it's all smoke and mirrors. It is. Guys, have fun. Stay safe in the shop. Go do something fun today. Oh, well, Almost Machining, which I love that name, by the way. Come back next Sunday. We do it same time, noon Eastern on Sundays. And I'm no expert, but I sure talk a lot. Catch you guys later. Ciao.